Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 Origin Continent based on novel. So let's start. The King. The King is in Yulon City. Every low-level primordial life form lurking within Yulon City felt a surge of fervor in their hearts. The low-level primordial lives were notoriously unruly. Even when ordered by their leaders, only the scarce core members would somewhat obey, while the vast majority of middle and lower-tier clans wouldn't care much. They might go centuries without ever meeting their leaders, and could perish at the hands of cultivators at any time. Naturally, they became even more indulgent and unrestrained. Indulgence, recklessness, and unruliness. These traits had already become traditions among the low-level primordial lives. The Enchanting Heartworm clan, the Soul-Devouring Snake clan, and the Void Wanderer clan were the three major species of lurkers. Once a king emerged among these three species, they would possess an inconceivable power to command, even making the kings of other species willing to heed their orders. This was because only the king of the lurker species could easily infiltrate cities and assassinate the topmost core members within, significantly reducing the difficulty of breaching the city's defenses. In the history of the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm, most city breaches, 8 out of 10 cases, were due to the emergence of a king among the three lurker species. Once a lurker king was discovered, the cultivators of the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm would immediately call for reinforcements. The Dark Sacred Realm would send terrifying cultivators to hunt down the lurker king. Hence, the birth of a lurker king was kept in absolute secrecy. A king only had one chance in their life to breach a city. Once they failed, under relentless pursuit from the cross-realm forces of the Dark Sacred Realm, survival was impossible. This is my only chance to regain freedom. The red-robed cultivator rose to their feet, their gaze icy. To them, the entire Nine Rivers Sacred Realm was a vast cage. After enduring countless hardships, they finally attained super-limit level, granting them an opportunity for freedom. If they could breach the city. Out of hundreds of millions of cultivators, they only needed to massacre a fraction to accumulate enough merit points. Act now. The red-robed cultivator issued the order. At that moment, all the leaders hiding across Yulon City sprang into action, while the other clans continued to lie dormant. Whoosh! The red-robed cultivator emerged from their cave mansion, gliding through a faint mist as they flew toward Wei Yang Palace Master's cave mansion. At the same time, another 32 leaders began to head toward Wei Yang Palace Master's cave mansion as well. Under the call of the king, 32 leaders from the Enchanting Heartworm clan and the Soul-Devouring Snake clan, each with the strength of divine emperor perfection, gathered here. First, several regions across the 35 city zones of the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm had branches where divine emperor perfection level individuals hadn't yet emerged. The strongest members in those branches were some late-stage divine emperor clan members, making leader-level members even rarer. Second, only about half of the leaders were participating in this battle, the rest abstained, so the current participants only represented about half of the elite forces of the two major clans. Rumble tilde 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 tilde. The gates of Yulon City slammed shut with a deafening roar. Sir the Novelier.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. With the gates closed, no cultivator could enter or leave the city temporarily. All cultivators, return to your respective cave mansions immediately, or you may temporarily stay in nearby merchant establishments. Yuan Seong Palace Master's gentle voice echoed throughout the city. In a moment, all cultivators are forbidden to step outside. Anyone fleeing will be treated as a low-level primordial life form in disguise. This inspection will be completed within a day, and all cultivators must cooperate during the process. The message resounded. The scattered cultivators across various locations began swiftly heading back to their cave mansions if they were nearby. Those farther away opted to temporarily stay in merchant establishments instead. As time passed, a massive flow of cultivators spread across Yulon City, with their numbers outside gradually decreasing. The red-robed cultivator, now close to Wei Yang Palace Master's cave mansion, noticed that many of the other 32 leaders were still far off, arriving at varied speeds and distances. Deploy the first branch to attack the entire city, and draw the cultivator's attention, the red-robed cultivator immediately commanded. Yes. The leader of the first branch responded and promptly initiated the assigned orders. Suddenly, in various sectors of Yulon City, over 200 cultivators emerged from their cave mansions simultaneously. These were all avatars of enchanting heartworms, or soul-devouring snakes. The attack plan had always designated these avatars for sacrificial missions. However, these avatars possessed remarkable strength. Some were avatars of core clan members. For cultivators below the Divine Emperor level, it was a swift massacre, at the hands of enchanting heartworms and soul-devouring snakes, with casualties piling up at shocking speed. Ha ha ha, it's been ages since I killed cultivators so wantonly. In just a blink of an eye, I've already slain over 10. With the merit points from this massacre, my bloodline will surely evolve to unprecedented heights. These 200 lurkers raged unchecked, no longer worrying about secrecy, the more reckless, the better. They couldn't resist during the citywide investigation. Lurkers already revealing themselves. Wipe them out. The elders in charge of Yulon City's numerous defensive formations showed no leniency, decisively deploying the arrays to strike down the rampaging lurkers. Rumble tilde 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 tilde. Thunder and lightning rained down like an unrelenting storm. Within the blink of an eye, every lurker wreaking havoc across the city was struck, with no room to dodge. Most of them were annihilated instantly, reduced to ashes. Only 3 lurkers managed to withstand the lightning strikes. These 3 must either be late-stage Divine Emperor true bodies or leader-level avatars. One elder responsible for the Thunder Array communicated this insight to the other elders. Late-stage Divine Emperor low-level primordial lives had exceptionally tenacious life forces. Even the strikes of a formation controlled by an elder couldn't annihilate them from afar. They are likely just leader-level avatars. These lurkers are cunning. They almost never send their true bodies into cities, only avatars. Boom. Whoosh. Roar. Within mere breaths, the 3 lurkers, who had resisted the thunder strikes, were subjected to successive attacks from multiple formations. Flames engulfed their bodies. Invisible winds howled across them. Freezing air descended upon them like death. Layer upon layer of formation attacks, each one personally directed by the elders. Ultimately, all 3 lurkers met their demise. Meanwhile, not far from Wei Yang Palace Master's cave mansion, the red-robed cultivator had already rendezvoused with 7 other leaders. Deploy the second branch to attack the city and hinder them further, the red-robed cultivator commanded once again. Yes. With a new order issued. Another 192 lurkers charged out of their cave mansions. By this point, very few cultivators remained outside. These unleashed lurkers attacked every visible cultivator within sight, even storming merchant establishments to target attendants inside. More lurkers. What's going on? How are there still so many surfacing? The numerous elders controlling the formations were taken aback. While the emergence of the first batch of over 200 cultivators had been anticipated, the sudden appearance of a second wave totaling 192 seemed increasingly suspicious. Slaughter them first. Exterminate. The elders executed the arrays, striking from afar. The 192 lurkers attacked with reckless abandon, knowing that even if their avatars perished, as long as they killed enough, they'd still garner sufficient merit points. In just 3 breaths of time, all 192 lurkers were vanquished. Of course, they also managed to kill hundreds of innocent cultivators along the way. Something isn't right. Yuan Xiong Palace Master had also noticed the anomaly. 2 consecutive waves of carnage led Yuan Xiong Palace Master to feel uneasy. All cultivators, who have yet to return to their cave mansions, must immediately enter the nearest merchant establishment. 10 breaths of time are all that remain before inspections commence, Yuan Xiong Palace Master's voice resonated. Hurry, hurry. 10 breaths is too short. The vast majority of cultivators in Yulon City were below Divine Emperor level, their speed constrained by the rules of the 9 Rivers Sacred Realm. Forced to act swiftly, many rushed toward the nearest merchant establishments rather than their cave mansions. The red-robed cultivator near Wei Yang Palace Master's cave mansion was gradually joined by 12 leaders. Only 10 breaths of time. This operation feels too rushed. The red-robed cultivator frowned slightly. According to the original plan, at least 20 leader true bodies were to act simultaneously, ensuring absolute dominance to eliminate Wei Yang Palace Master. Then they could proceed to defeat others one by one, effortlessly breaching the city. But now, the gathered external forces only amounted to 30% of their intended strength. Their movements inside the city, hampered by Yulon City's full defensive lockdown, were also severely restricted. Even if rushed, we have no choice. The red-robed cultivators' eyes swept toward the nearby leaders. The 12 leaders around them also fully understood the urgency of the situation. Enter the cave mansion, the red-robed cultivator transmitted the order. The 13 moved in unison. Boom. A terrifying burst ripped apart the front gates of Wei Yang Palace Master's cave mansion. Inside the cave mansion, Wei Yang Palace Master sat meditating expressionlessly, controlling the formations enveloping the entire city, and coordinating with other elders to combat the lurkers. Wei Yang Palace Master instantly stood, looking toward the disturbance. 12 ominous presences descended upon them. Each presence filled Wei Yang Palace Master with dread. 12 leaders, and all true bodies. Wei Yang Palace Master could not believe their eyes. The leaders of the enchanting heartworm and soul-devouring snake clans were notoriously difficult to deal with, targeting their enemies' very souls. Outside the city, Wei Yang Palace Master had confidence in defeating a leader in a one-on-one combat. But against 3 at once, confidence dwindled considerably. Now, inside the city, I have the aid of the citywide formations. Even if all 12 true body leaders attack simultaneously, there's still a trace of survival. Wei Yang Palace Master's heart wavered with unease. But why would they risk sending all their true bodies this time, instead of relying on avatars? Something wasn't adding up. Wei Yang Palace Master quickly sought aid from Yuan Xiong Palace Master, Master Gari Dao, and other elders. Wei Yang Palace Master, meet your end. As the chaotic waves closed in, one presence near Wei Yang Palace Master exploded with unparalleled ferocity. A red-robed cultivator materialized as if emerging from the void, invading Wei Yang Palace Master's very soul. Twisting grotesquely, the red-robed figure transformed into a gigantic worm that devoured Wei Yang Palace Master's spiritual power in a single gulp. Super limit level. Wei Yang Palace Master was both shocked and enraged. Never had they heard of a super limit level entity arising among the enchanting heartworm and soul-devouring snake clans within the 9 Rivers Sacred Realm. Because if such an existence were revealed, the realm would have immediately summoned reinforcements from the dark Sacred Realm. Kill. There's no turning back for us. This is our one and only chance at freedom. Boom 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 boom. All 12 true body leaders, driven to madness, plunged into Wei Yang Palace Master's body, joining their king in the ferocious assault. A super limit heartworm, and 12 leader level true bodies. Help me. Help me. At this moment, the Wei Yang Palace Master barely managed to struggle, as he sent out a distress signal. In the Nine Rivers Sacred Realms Yulon City, he had multiple avatars. Spiritual attacks simultaneously affected all avatars. The avatars in other worlds experienced reduced effects. Particularly within the Source World, under the suppression of the Source World's supreme rules, even cross-boundary spiritual attacks were forcibly weakened to the power limit. However, all avatars in the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm were subjected to almost identical levels of lethal spiritual assault. The Wei Yang Palace Master held Yulon City in high regard. He carried two powerful secret treasures suited to himself, both at a level equivalent to the Undying Heart and the Palm World, capable of protecting his soul. But a single super-limit heartworm and 12 leaders, all of them specialized in spiritual assaults and using their true bodies, launched an all-out frenzied attack. Even with the treasures reducing the force by 70 to 80%, the remaining pressure of 2 to 3/10 was still enough to make the Wei Yang Palace Master feel despair. Wei Yang Palace Master, hold on. The Yuan Xiong Palace Master, though harboring some dissatisfaction toward the Wei Yang Palace Master, immediately activated the formation to strike back at the 13 physical bodies. Wei Yang Palace Master, I'll help you. Master Gai Dao also acted urgently, casting a 3-colored radiance around the Wei Yang Palace Master. Wei Yang Palace Master. The Shadow Tao Master, Master of Deceit Workshop, and others all activated Yulon City's formation in an attempt to rescue him. The various elders all sought ways to aid the Wei Yang Palace Master. At this moment, all prior grievances were set aside, everyone shared a single goal, to save the Wei Yang Palace Master. The importance of the Wei Yang Palace Master to Yulon City's entire defensive system was even greater than that of the Yuan Xiong Palace Master. Though the Yuan Xiong Palace Master had a higher level of cultivation, over 99% of his heart force was devoted to resisting corruption, rendering his contributions constrained. His significance lay instead in his friendships and influence, which served to deter enemies throughout the city. No. Only 3 breaths after the Wei Yang Palace Master's cry for help, all 5 of his avatars within the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm perished amid an unwilling roar of fury. Low-level primordial life forms specializing in spiritual assaults were simply too terrifying. 1 super-limit heartworm and 12 leader-level beings, all true bodies. At this moment in Yulon City, no one felt confident about surviving their all-out siege. Even Luo Fong could probably only hold out for a bit longer. After all, compared to the Wei Yang Palace Master, Luo Fong currently had an advantage only in will secret techniques. Moreover, Luo Fong at this moment could not yet harness Yulon City's formation for self-protection. Phew. The Wei Yang Palace Master suddenly opened his eyes, their gaze icy. At this moment, the king had taken possession of his body. In reality, the physical bodies of the heartworm and soul-devouring snake cultivators they controlled had only served as vessels. Their true forms were the ethereal heartworms and soul-devouring snakes themselves. King. The 12 other leader-level phantasmal figures spiraling around him grew ecstatic. The Wei Yang Palace Master is dead. We can proceed to the next step. The Wei Yang Palace Master revealed a smile. Ha 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 ha. Go. Under the king's command, the 12 leaders instantly burst out of the cave mansion. Since their presence was now exposed, the leaders dismissed the need to continue possessing cultivators. All of the Wei Yang Palace Master's avatars across the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm have perished. In Yulon City, many elders familiar with the Wei Yang Palace Master could sense through causality that no avatars of his survived anywhere in the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm. This is trouble. Master Gai Dao's face grew grim. It's over. The Shadow Tower Master felt an ominous foreboding. A king has emerged from the lurker species. If it strikes, it will bring about a true decisive battle. The emergence of a king from any of the three lurker major species was always a nightmare for the cultivator camp. This nightmare decisively began as their strongest asset, the Wei Yang Palace Master, had already fallen. Luo Fong, with one of his avatars stationed at Yulon City's outer limits, had originally planned to gradually shut down the cave mansion's formations and conduct a detailed investigation. However, before the formations were even significantly deactivated, the Wei Yang Palace Master had already been struck down. Brother Luo Fong, the Wei Yang Palace Master, has been killed by a super-limit heartworm and 12 leaders, each one a true body. The Changqing building owner, an elder, received the news immediately and relayed it to Luo Fong, who was in the Dan Tower. A super-limit heartworm. Luo Feng's expression changed. This is bad. He had foreseen that large-scale investigations might force the hidden low-level primordial life forms into desperate counterattacks. But he hadn't expected to flush out a super-limit lurker so soon. Throughout the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm's history, the fall of cities had been predominantly caused by the emergence of super-limit lurkers. Yulon City has reached the brink of life and death. Luo Fong immediately realized this. My large-scale investigation unintentionally provoked them into acting prematurely. Without his investigation, the war's eruption might have been delayed further, giving them more time to prepare and strike when fully ready. Brother Luo Fong, the Wei Yang Palace Master, is dead. The Changqing building owner quickly informed him again. Luo Fong had already sensed it. He had met the Wei Yang Palace Master, establishing some level of causality. Through this connection, he could discern that no avatars of the Wei Yang Palace Master were left in the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm. So quickly. That super-limit lurker will undoubtedly target the other palace masters next. Luo Fong recognized the severity of the situation. What's that? Luo Fong turned to look into the distance, beyond Yulon City. What are those? On Yulon City's walls, the guards remained at their posts, but suddenly froze in astonishment, staring at the horizon. In the distance appeared a multitude of low-level primordial life forms, their forms grotesque and varied. Their sizes ranged from vast to minute, their auras either enigmatic and sinister, blazing hot, icy cold, or illusory and unfathomable. Nether Ruins Wind Beast, Blood Demon Elisai, Demon Fire Bird, Frost Soul Watcher, Shuguang Demon Lord, Primordial Wild Hoof, Frost Nightmare Messenger, Illusionary Pupil River, Void Weaver. The guards felt their hearts tremble as they observed the countless low-level primordial life forms of various species swarming forward. So many. And their auras are so terrifying. Many are late-stage Divine Emperor, even leaders. Even Luo Fong, observing from afar, felt a chill. His brows furrowed as the biomimetic destruction eye between his brows scanned for more information. With just one glance, he took in the entire situation around Yulon City. At this moment, a vast army of low-level primordial life forms had entirely encircled Yulon City. This is a terrifying, low-level primordial life army. Just the Divine Emperor Perfection level entities, it's well over 2,000. Luo Fong was shaken. So many leader-level low-level primordial life forms couldn't possibly originate solely from around Yulon City. The Changqing building owner communicated. It must be that leaders from numerous regions across the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm have arrived. And there's a super limit among them. Luo Fong saw it too. Outside the eastern, western, and southern walls of Yulon City, enormous and hidden forces loomed beyond the low-level primordial life army. Thanks to the biomimetic destruction, Luo Fong, could faintly discern these immense powers, each surpassing his current abilities. Even with the undying heart and palm world, Luo Fong could only hope to survive. There wasn't even a guarantee of an equal fight. This. Why are there so many primordial life forms? Search the novelia.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. So many leaders, and tens of thousands of late-stage divine emperors. The elders in charge of Yulon City's defenses also observed the enemy forces. Facing such overwhelming odds, their hearts trembled. The entire elder-level combat forces within the city numbered only a little over 700. The disparity was staggering. Their only hope lay in using Yulon City as a stronghold. Yulon City, forged with the Yuan Xiong Palace Master's merit points, was a fortress crafted by transcendent beings who had escaped the braided cage. Sheltering inside the city was akin to hiding in an impregnable fortress, capable of withstanding an enemy force 100 times superior. But the strongest fortress often fell due to internal betrayal. Now, with the Weiyang Palace Master slain, the sense of impending disaster was palpable. Attack. From all four sides of Yulon City, the immense low-level primordial life army surged forward under the command of the kings outside. Their attacks were coordinated, their same species techniques amplifying each other, as overwhelming assaults rained down upon Yulon City. Hold the line. Hold them off. The formations of Yulon City, which had previously been used to hunt down infiltrators within the city, were now fully deployed to defend against the external onslaught. Within an area of billions of kilometers around Yulon City, the forces of heaven and earth roared like tidal waves. A kaleidoscope of dazzling and varied powers was mobilized. The low-level primordial life army held absolute numerical superiority, crushing Yulon City beneath their relentless offensive. Yet Yulon City, with its intricately interlocked hundreds of defensive systems, operated in perfect synchrony, standing like an unyielding bastion against all assaults. Inside, there's a super-limit infiltrator. Outside, there's a unified low-level primordial life army from across multiple regions of the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm. Internal-external collusion, and now with the Weiyang Palace Master dead, the likelihood of Yulon City's fall exceeds 50%. If Yulon City falls, nearly every cultivator within will die. The elders, though discouraged, managed to stay calm, each having avatars to preserve their existence. But the mid to lower tier cultivators within the city were panicking. Without avatars, death for them would be final. I refused to accept this. I endured endless hardships, being the sole one from my homeworld to escape suffering and attain transcendence, only to die here. We'll hold. The Yuan Xiong Palace Master will save Yulon City again. Every cultivator, who reached the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm, even the most ordinary among them, was a legend in their own world. Yet now the majority of them could only watch events unfold powerlessly. The elders received immense privileges precisely because they bore the responsibility of protecting the city. They had avatars, were unafraid of death, and could confront the low-level primordial life forms with calm determination. The Weiyang Palace Master is dead, and the Yuan Xiong Palace Master is seriously injured. If this continues, Yulon City will almost certainly fall. Luo Fong comprehended this dire reality. With his current strength, there was no way to shift the tide. Inside the Dan Tower, Luo Fong maintained one of his long-term stationed avatars there. Building owner. Luo Fong immediately approached the Changqing building owner. Brother Luo Fong. Seeing Luo Fong, the Changqing building owner sighed. This time, the low-level primordial life species planned their attack thoroughly. Fortunately, Your large-scale search across the city forced them into an early confrontation, giving us a sliver of hope. But with the Yuan Xiong Palace Master in this frail state, even that slim chance appears out of reach. The Yuan Xiong Palace Master's debilitating weakness must have been one of the reasons the super limit targeted Yulon city, Luo Fong acknowledged. Even predators pick the weakest prey. Building owner, the Dan Tower's treasure, the prized 100 Tribulations Heart Essence, valued at 10 billion primordial crystals, I need it now. Luo Fong declared. The 100 Tribulations Heart Essence, the Dan Tower's signature treasure, had long been put on display to attract attention. Its exaggerated cost of 10 billion had discouraged buyers, leaving it unsold. Luo Fong could never have afforded to use such extravagant treasures in his earlier cultivation efforts. According to his original plans, Luo Fong would gradually comprehend the primordial bloodline, accumulate insights, and finally achieve a natural breakthrough in the life and death Tao. Luo Fong, deeply grounded in his cultivation, could easily achieve a breakthrough in one epoch of focused effort. But the dire crisis demanded immediate progress. He had no choice but to rely on treasures. 10 billion primordial crystals, at 60%, that's 6 billion. I'll pay you now, Luo Fong asserted. As a vice building owner, he was entitled to make purchases at 60%. No need, the Changqing building owner shook his head. It's uncertain if Yulon City can even hold. If the city falls, the Dan Tower's treasures will be lost as well. The primordial crystals would mean nothing. If we survive, you can settle the payment later. With a faint smile, the Changqing building owner produced the 100 Tribulations Heart Essence. Encased in transparent crystal jade, the item glimmered with a violet gold liquid imbued with a warm radiance. All right. Luo Fong wasted no time. Taking the 100 Tribulations Heart Essence in hand, he vanished, reaching his secluded chamber in the Dan Tower in an instant to begin consuming the treasure. This video will end here.